Let's upcycle a wall lamp so that it matches our room and it's magical. When you switch it on, another image pops up and it's easy to make. Let me show you how.
Hello! Today I'm coming in from our living room because we need a new light. Let me show you why. You believe me now? Let me show you what happened. If you don't know, we love acro yoga and we practice at home as well because sometimes there's nowhere else to practice and the wall lights get hit on, literally. And yes, that happened about 2 to 4 years ago, I don't know, and we still rock this light and I think it's about time that we change that. When we first moved here, everything was in gold and I hate gold. I don't like that color. It's just not me. So I decided to change that and I've already decorated this light on the other side of our living room. I spray painted some parts and I decorated the lampshade. And today I'll do that with all of you, just a little bit different because we don't want to have two lights that are exactly the same. That would be totally not me.
Here's everything that I used for this project and you'll find the complete list of all the materials on my blog, link in the description, so check it out. We'll need spray paint for the hardware and some cutting tools and pencils for the decorations on the lampshade and of course glue to glue it on. And of course an old lampshade and black and white papers. And that's it, let's get to it. In order to decorate my lamp, I first took everything apart and I spray painted these metal parts. As you can see, I still need to spray paint some more so that this ugly gold color will be completely covered. Now let's move this aside so we can work on a lampshade. I already took the shape of a lampshade and made a paper template that I'll be able to work on. I just used some scrap paper from when kids were little and they were just drawing on it. Now that I have my paper template, I can use it on as many designs as I want to. So here I drawn one. This one has an elf and a fairy and there are trees above. But then I remembered I actually have a die that cuts this beautiful tree and I'll just play around with the positioning of them. Arrange them in any way you like and cut out your design from black paper. If you're using die cuts, then cut them out with your Big Shot. I'll show you how. If you want to decorate your lamp the same way as I do, you will need a sheet of paper. This is just normal thin paper that you can buy in bulk. Totally black, so even if you tear it up, it still remains black. Which is really nice because in that case, all of your die cuts and cuts will not have any white edges. If you want your custom-made design, you will need scissors or scalpel and something to cut on and something to draw on your paper. This could be normal pencil or if you prefer a white pencil that is better visible but maybe a bit rougher to draw with. Or you could use a white colored pencil as well. If you want to use die cuts like this, then of course you will need a die cutting machine like a Big Shot or something like that. And I'm using this die cut from Sizzix. It's called Garden Greens and it has these beautiful designs. If you're using the thick die cuts, you use one plate on the bottom, then place your die cut on it and then your paper and the dirty plate, the one that gets cut into all the time. And you just run it through. If you see that your die cuts are not popping out nicely the way that mine aren't right now, what I like to do is place the paper onto the design, put your plate on and then an extra layer of, they call this shim, but I just use a recycled cardboard from an old instant wheat coffee. It's long enough and this gives it a little bit of extra strength and that's why this now pops out much more beautifully and the cuts are much cleaner. So I recommend doing that. And the bonus tip for these cuts that weren't cut so nicely and have these fuzzy edges like this one, as you can see, you can still use this kind of stuff on your jelly plates and similar, because you will not be able to see the exact fuzziness of the edge when you use it on a jelly plate. Once we've got all of these die cuts cut out, we can play around with the composition, and when we are satisfied with it, we can work on our main character. Once I'll be satisfied with this character, I'm gonna cut it out with scissors, transfer it onto the black paper and cut it out again, probably with my X-Acto knife to be more precise. Of course, you could sketch this out directly on the paper, but I would recommend that you do that as a mirror image, because otherwise this will still show in your final result. It's much better if you draw on the other side and use a mirror image, and then this is what you will glue down and it won't show any white lines. Once we've got everything cut out, we arrange it onto our mock sheet to see if everything fits nicely and if something needs to be adjusted. Like I noticed, I want to cut out some veins here and I want to make the edge of her dress wavy, and I'll do that, and then I'll glue everything with PVA glue and a nice soft brush onto the lampshade. After you've cut everything out, just assemble everything and glue it onto the lampshade using a PVA glue. At least that's what I'm using, because I just love PVA glue. It's biodegradable, it's non-toxic, and it binds paper and other porous materials really well. And the lampshade is woven material, so it's porous enough. Apply glue very generously first on the base of the lampshade, position your chosen design, and cover it with more glue so that the edges are really well covered. You have some wiggle room to move your design around because this glue doesn't dry that fast, but the paper will get wet and therefore could tear, so move it as soon as possible if needed. Okay, now all that is left is to glue this fairy on. But what I want to do is glue her on the other side. So you can't see it when the light is switched off, but she will shine through when we switch on the light, just as I show you with those leaves on the other shade. And I'll do the same thing here. I just apply some glue. Watch out so that I position her nicely before I want to see through. If I shine the light, you can see her. And I think I like the position, so I will just go over with the glue that will help to strengthen all the little parts and all the edges, especially with this fairy because she's got such delicate wings. Now I'm gonna let this dry and then I'm gonna assemble everything together and show you how it looks. Now that everything is more or less dry, let's assemble this. First I'll cut off any pieces that were left. Now I'll just assemble everything together. Now your lampshade might be a bit different, so how you do it depends on your parts, of course. But for me, it's pretty straightforward. I'd say pay attention when you disassemble it so you'll know how to assemble it back. Oh, by the way, if these things are plastic, sometimes the paint chips off when you push it onto your shade because of the force, and it just chips off. In that case, you can take care of this and reapply some spray paint, just like this. But of course, you'll first have to protect your shade. I did that with that template where I drew my design, and it comes really handy for that. As you can see, it's all protected. And I'll do the same thing from this side, but I'll need to protect it from the underside. After all the maneuvering, let's assemble the light fixture. And the light comes here. That's it! Our new lampshade. Let's see it in action. Like and subscribe for some magic. See you next week. Bye bye!